Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another FIFA 22 video where today I'm going to be discussing and sharing with you what I think the best formation in the game right now is. Now for me personally, I've been experimenting with lots of different formations. I like to keep it fresh, I like to change things up, I like to try and have fun and experiment with different things. I don't like getting stuck on the same formation all the time. And speaking of which, I need to massively upgrade my team very soon because this team is getting very outdated. And it is becoming a little bit difficult to kind of like compete because whilst the team's not too bad, you know, a lot of people are now starting to really accelerate their teams, and my team is kind of falling behind a little bit. So I need to put a little bit of time in to try and improve my team so I can give you guys a better feel for formations. Now, in terms of the best formation at the moment, now it's really very tricky because I've been experimenting with lots of formations. I've been trying lots of different play styles and trying lots of different things to see what kind of suits my game, and trying, you know, 4-back formations, some 5-back formations, some 3-back formations. We've tried being attacking, we've tried being defensive, and it maybe has led to my game itself struggling a little bit because I've been trying so many different things. I haven't been set on anything. And one thing I'd say to you guys, if you are someone that is struggling with a formation, I'd recommend finding a video, whatever it may be, whether it's one of mine or whether it is somebody else's. Get a set of tactics, get a team that you're familiar with, and try and stick to it for a while. Because one thing I've experienced recently is the more you bounce around with formations and tactics and things like that, the more you'll start to struggle. I've probably, in the last 2 weeks, struggled more with FIFA this year than I have at any point because I've been changing my formation so much, and you're trying to get used to a different formation, and it's really important to know where your players are, the runs they make, where they'll be in certain scenarios. And the more you play with the formation, the more familiar you get, the better you'll be with it. Now, with that being said, at the moment, I do think at the moment the best formation in the game is the 4-2-3-1. Now, every year, this is one of the top 3 formations pretty much all year. Now, I've had lots of good formations this year that I've enjoyed. The 4-4-1-1, you know, 4-4-2 is very good this year. 4-2-2 is always a banging formation. The 4-3-1-2, I've got one of my tactics is set up for a 4-3-1-2, as you can see. Like, we have some other really brilliant formations in the game. Now, the 5-2-1-2 is a formation I really like, but I just think the 4-2-3-1 is probably the best going at the moment because as people's teams are getting to that point where they're just starting to improve and they're starting to get a bit better. And I think the 4-2-3-1 is always one of those safe haven formations where it's great to just go back to it just whilst you're trying to figure out your own team. And just whilst you're trying to, everybody's sort of teams are starting to settle down and get to the norm again. I think a lot of people's teams have really accelerated in the last 2 or 3 weeks. And I think the 4-2-3-1's kind of become that safe haven formation to let people's teams sort of get to that equilibrium. And then people will experiment back into different formations again. But at the moment, I think 4-2-3-1 is great. It's obviously the best formation in the game because it's very difficult to play against. It doesn't really have too many weaknesses. You can play with it in a very defensive style. You can play with it in a very aggressive style. It's very good for tiki-taka. It's very good for people who like to counter-attack. It's very good for people who like to high press. It's very good for everything. So I think that's why it is one of the best formations in the game at the moment. In terms of the tactics for this formation, very basic from my point of view. You know, we're going defensive style, we're going balance, 60 depth, 55 width. The build-up is on slow build-up, possession, 60 width. So everything's very basic, and that's because I think the best way to play the 4-2-3-1, in my opinion, and from the success that I've been having with this formation recently, is to play with it as simply as possible. I mean, you can play with it very negative, very defensive. You can play with it very high press and aggressive and whatnot. But I think the best way to play with any formation is to play in how it's meant to be. So when you look at a formation like the 4-2-3-1, it's very compact. So it's naturally going to be good at defending, but it's very good for possession. Hence why we've got possession on the chance creation, because all the players are very close together. The little triangles from the left back to the left CDM to the left cam, and the same on the right hand side, up at the top, you know, from Pogba, Verratti, Fekir in the middle. You know, everybody's very close together. So possession is very easy in this formation, and it's very easy to play tiki-taka. So when you're looking at what's the best sort of for the chance creation, one thing that's starting to work very well for me is just playing the chance creation with the formation that's meant to be. So for example, in the 5-2-1-2, the way that I like to play the 5-2-1-2 is bombing the fullbacks up, you know, the left and the right back. I don't know why Verratti is at left back there, but bombing the fullbacks forward, because the fullbacks are meant to go forward. They're meant to be part of the attacking side of the game. And that's when you get the best out of a formation. Now, in terms of the instructions, we've got Pilecek in goal now. It's really, really good. Managed to craft him just a little bit earlier. But when it comes to crosses and sweeper keeper, always the same thing for the goalkeeper. I do recommend using the same thing. The two centre-backs, of course, Kimpembe and Marquinhos on stay back while attacking. Now, the two full-backs we've got on stay back while attacking, and that comes from, again, I think in this formation, it's very compact. It's very solid. I don't like playing the really defensive way because it's very, very boring. But I also don't like playing super high press and aggressive because I just think it leaves you far too open and you're just very, very easy to be picked apart. And when you start getting up to the higher skill levels, you do have to play a little bit more clever and a little bit more smarter. You can't really be so open because people just pick you apart. And whether you like it or not, and I don't like it, the way you have to play at the high level, it's kind of how you have to play. You have to play a little bit more negative, which kind of sucks. But at the moment, it's just the way it has to be. So the fullbacks, I think, have to be on stay back while attacking. Just give you that solid base, that solid foundation to work from. And then the two midfielders, Verratti and Pogba. Unfortunately, we do have those guys on stay back while attacking as well because your two DMs do really need to be DMs. Now, the two guys we've got in here, Verratti is very, very good. Pogba, not so good from my experience. Played about 150 games. I'm not a huge fan, but as I said, I do need to improve my team massively. Normally, I bring Pogba off for Fofana. And when I have Fofana and Verratti in these two slots, they're absolutely mental. If you do manage to get that signature stars or whatever, I don't know what they're called, signature players, whatever they're called. If you get Renato Sanchez in this position, he'll be absolutely mental. If you get that in from Kante, maybe put those two alongside each other, they are perfect for this DM role, especially guys that are playing stay back while attacking. That's kind of what you need. You kind of need real DMs, strong DMs, because they're going to be doing a lot of that dirty work in front of the back four, which does generally leave that front three of, we've got Bernardo Silva, Fekir, and Mahrez. And for me, Bernardo Silva and Mahrez, I need to get out of my team ASAP because they're absolutely terrible. Fekir is obviously very, very good. But these front three kind of just are wingmen for Son up top, who Son is on getting behind. Balanced width because I do like him to drift a little bit. I don't like him to get stuck in that in between the two centre-backs. I do want him to drift around. Obviously, sometimes drift in between the full-back and the centre-back for those through balls that will get played through by Silva, by Fekir, by Mahrez. And obviously those front three are the three behind. Obviously all going to be on getting to the box because the rest of the team generally is going to be doing more defensive work. So obviously these four up front are going to be doing the majority of your attacking. And also we've got them on free roam just so they can sort of interchange. They can drift around. Sometimes they'll run beyond Son. Sometimes they'll drift in behind. Sometimes they'll stay left. They'll go right. Just so it's a bit more unpredictable because obviously you are most of the time just going to have those four doing the majority of your attacking. So they do need to be, you do need to use cunning because you don't have the numbers to, most people are going to have sort of 7 or 8 players back and you've only got 4 going forward. So you have to use your cunning, you have to use your nous to get in. So we're obviously using these guys on free roam and it's just going to allow those guys to obviously cause a lot of havoc for your opponent. So that is it. That is what I think the best formation is in FIFA 22 right now is 4-2-3-1. I just think it's the safe haven formation. I think it's always the safe formation if you're struggling. If you don't quite know where you are, I always recommend going back to the 4-2-3-1 because it always sorts me out. It gets me back into a rhythm. It gets me back winning games, gets that confidence up, and then you feel like you can sort of maybe expand into something else. So the 4-2-3-1 is always the best go-to formation, in my opinion, in the game. And I'm sure a lot of people will agree. So if you do enjoy this video, do you want to see more, do drop a thumbs up. If you do try these tactics out, let me know how they work for you in the comment section down below. Make sure you do subscribe as well if you are new to the channel. But that is all for today, guys. Have an awesome day. I'm out.